Rochdale games are afoot, which is always amusing one way or another. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but it's always amusing. This is one of the most shameful and egregious hit pieces I've ever seen published, and this is from Roch Valley Radio, basically what was Rochdale Online, which is a sort of local cover-up and gatekeeping mouth extension, or basically the method by which the council communicates through a back channel with the people. They take money from the council to put out some favourable stories. The sources for the stories be like the BBC. It'll be like flat out government propaganda comes out of this thing, running ostensibly as a local radio station. Excuse me, I don't know anyone who listens to it, but this is Rochdale Online. It just moved across. Excuse me. Well, there's a story that Rochdale Online will never tell, right? And that is the story of Colin Lambert. Now, I know the story of Colin Lambert, having heard first-hand accounts of what happened. I can tell it. I can tell the story of Colin Lambert, how he might find himself in conflict with Rochdale Council. I know the story. I can tell it. These people will never tell that story, ever. They never told it when it happened, and they're not going to tell it now. They skirted round the circle, around the edge of it, and then just brassed it out and moved on. There was a coup once upon a time at Rochdale Council, and actually it began. To tell the story of Colin Lambert and his downfall, and him now being someone who's the leader of the Reform Party in Rochdale. Here he is with the Rochdale councillor. He got the shit kicked out of him a few weeks ago, and it appears the police are not interested in finding out the man who beat him up. He got beaten up in this very street he's marching in Hayward. This man is the former chief executive of Rochdale Council, someone who has climbed the Labour Party slippery pole to its absolute fucking summit once upon a time. I don't know this man, although I know people who know him. They all speak well of him, but they all spoke well of Jimmy Savile. I'm not saying there's anything untowards about this guy, though. Anything at all. I reckon this one could be someone who's operated, blinkered in this world, operated in good faith, and then reached a level of the game where giving people the benefit of the doubt be your fucking downfall when everybody stabs you in the back because they need to look out for their own interests. So it's like this man was taken out of power in Rochdale in a coup. And it started, right, when Simon Danczuk was sold. Because there's a chap I'm quite pally with, who I see eye to eye with, who's a former superstar of the local Labour Party. Superstar. A very young deputy mayor. Very young member of the cabinet, who was a prodigy of this guy. Colin Lambert would be Farouk's mentor. And it'd be as a leading light of the Rochdale Labour Party that Farouk was introduced by Gordon Brown to a man called Simon Danczuk, who got to know Farouk, who seemed to be quite impressed with this young sort of firebrand socialist, and recommended him to the membership of the Rochdale Labour Party as its next MP. And he was like, "No, that was you." And it'd be, "Yes, that was me." So it's like the world could have been a different place altogether, but for the... It's like, shit, you have to live with that, mate. You are the man who brought Simon Danczuk to Rochdale and proposed him as a candidate to be our MP to the local Labour Party. Yes. The Labour Party took him out, wined him and dined him, introduced him to Simon, and Simon's quite a charming man. And then we end up with a chancer. A fantasist, extremely narcissistic and not so impressive MP, Simon Danczuk. Now there's something I know as being what we would refer to in Rochdale as a psych lad. I'm a psych lad. There's not that many of us, but there are plenty, right? There are a good few. And something that psych lads know, and something that Spotland lads know, and something that Hamer lads know, and something that Smallbridge lads know, and something that Belfield lads know, and something that Bamford lads know, and something that Norden lads know, and something that Shawclough lads know, and things that Whitworth people know, right, is you don't put your dick in someone from Cocolt. Everybody knows that. And it's like, Simon Danczuk, when he hit this town, found himself, schmoozing and needing to charm members of the local Labour Party. And then he sort of met the eyes of the fucking crackpot, sort of serial abuse victim mess of a person called Karen Danczuk, and clicked like that. And I was so shy and so depressed all the time, and he made me feel so good about myself. It's like, here we go, right? And it's a matter of, she be a woman with a reputation in Rochdale that many people knew about, and Simon Danczuk be someone from Huddersfield who is completely blind to this, and like, oh my God, you just need to be saved. You just need a good man to lift you from your terrible manic depression and your self-harm cycle that you're in. And he'd be like, oh my God, you just got married to like some fucking mentally fucking broken individual. You've just invited absolute chaos into your life. And to be that person, to be that shallow, to be that person so easily tricked and led with the cock into abandoning your wife and family to go and move in with some bird from Cocolt, it's like, what the fuck is this? Karen Danczuk, Labour councillor Karen Danczuk. And it's like, this guy spent then, right, with a campaign of limited hangout. He spent the next couple of years trying to woo the press and sell stories about the shit that is Rochdale, right? He made money selling stories about Rochdale once he got here. So he's talking to people and he's collecting information as people are trying to come along and say, you need to know things about Rochdale, mate, now you're here, if you're going to take an interest. And he turned them into cash. Simon Danczuk cashed in on the suffering and misery of this town and turned his attention on attacking and destroying the local council. He turned to attacking them. He's a Labour MP, but they're a Labour council. But hey, people are in it for themselves. Who gives a fuck? It's a one-party dictatorship. This is a coup. This is a power play. Danczuk starts to learn about the failures of the council, not somebody from here, and decides that the council is in essence terminally broken, and seeks to remove its chief executive. It might have needed doing, but there's a piece of the story that can't be found as to how Simon Danczuk found himself in bed with a man called Richard Farnell, because the pressure that had been brought to bear on Rochdale Council was due to scandals in children's homes. Children's homes, little boys in children's homes being used as whores, and little boys' children's homes in Rochdale being used as brothels for those who knew. And it going on for years. And it'd be a massive scandal. It'd be every bit as serious and terrible a scandal as what's transpired that Rochdale's actually been known for, which in essence, in the end, worked as a very, very nice smokescreen for those within the organisation of Rochdale Council who feared going to prison for a very long time for the role they played in systemic rape of little boys for many years by some very famous people. This is what came out. This is the scandal. This is the weapon. This was the thing that was used by Simon Danczuk and Richard Farnell. Richard Farnell is a former chief executive of Rochdale Council who was very much he knows more than anyone else about what really happened at Northview, because there are many people who'll tell you that he partook in it and that was something that he was absolutely completely involved in. There's no one in the world who knows more about what happened there than him. And somehow, because of these highlighted failures in Rochdale Council, they've offered up a vote of no confidence against the chief executive and pulled it off with 2 votes. And then they've basically blamed him for all of the ills of the system. And they've been able to get away with it, funnily, strangely, all the way things. It's like someone who's quite a decent person but quite foolish, right? Brings a chancer to the town, and the chancer is a fucking fool. If you get to, I've spoken to Simon Danczuk personally. He's not a smart guy. He's like shifty, street smart. That's what he's like. He's over familiar. So it's like people who are over familiar and pretend to be your mate. I used to be a salesman. I can play that game too. He's over familiar, Simon Danczuk. He's narcissistic. He lacks boundaries, normal boundaries, as to where he's basically someone who gets in your personal space. He's cheeky. But it's like Jim Dobbin, right? Former MP, big sort of union and northern sort of Labour Party, long serving councillor and shop steward, union official from the teaching profession, you know. Big heavyweight. Voice of sense, voice of reason. Would be on the side of right if it came to a moral certainty of something, like kids getting messed with, right? Would emerge on the side of right, you can be absolutely certain, right? Old school. Dies suddenly. Not saying he was murdered, not saying there's something untoward happened, although there are those who do, right? But when he died, there'd be this then ridiculous power vacuum where there's no one to tell that Danczuk no. Where Colin Lambert loses one of his most important allies at the same time, you know. Then suddenly new blood rushes in, the new guys. Farnell, Neil Emmett. Neil Emmett being once upon a guy who's failed his way to the top. Biggest movie ever made, biggest career movie ever made was getting rid of Farouk from the Labour Party, accusing him of saying something homophobic, which is his only trick. The guy's now chief executive of Rochdale Council, Neil Emmett. You will never, ever hear him speak publicly. You will never, ever see anything but a very, very woke almost AI written statement the odd time. This guy is not a public individual. When Farnell came in more than ever, Rochdale Council was completely taken behind closed doors. Taken behind closed doors. What you see, if you ever see there's a council meeting in Rochdale, is something akin to when Cersei is holding court in Game of Thrones. It's been taken outside. It's in a Rochdale. The Rochdale Council's sort of cabinet is a black box organisation, unaccountable. Doesn't have to answer any questions to anybody. They've gone off grid. They don't communicate with anyone. They don't feel the need to answer any questions, and they've got no press or journal or local sort of media asking them any questions. Asking questions of politicians around here is a way to get yourself having cowardly hit pieces written about you. So it's like he was taken out in a coup and replaced with the man who was best placed to ruin the public inquiry into what happened at Knollview. The guy who knew the most about what was really going on was then made chief executive of Rochdale Council in order for him to be able to perjure himself accurately, if you like, at the public inquiry. And there was calls at the time that he should be prosecuted. Damning statements about him made by the judges to say, this guy has lied on the stand. We know he's lying. And he sadly died before he could actually face any justice for it. So it's like, oh, so this was a guy who sort of was on his last legs. If you look at this fucker, you could believe he was suffering from heart failure, diabetes, a big, despicably fat bastard like Cyril Smith's size. Big, horrible fat bastard. It's like you could believe he could drop down dead just about any minute of just about anything. He was a picture of ill health. Suddenly a picture of ill health has been foisted upon you as the new dictator of your town. And really all he's been brought in to do is to sit and be a witness. For the despicable, public inquiry never were able to get anywhere near the truth because the guy who needed to shed some light decided to just tell a pack of fucking lies and deny it all. Thanks for that, Labour Party. Thanks for that, Simon Danczuk. The only thing I don't get, the only linkage I don't get is Richard Farnell, who was, after he left Rochdale, became embedded in the Labour Party and then eventually was, for a good long time, Deputy Mayor of Liverpool under a man called Jim Anderson. Same Jim Anderson who's been now criminalised and exposed as being a man who used to give contracts to people who paid him bribes, working alongside the shadow Labour Party that exists, the gangster who knows who Labour Party, putting him in league with the likes of fucking shady Derek Hatton and the like. That's the Labour set Richard Farnell comes from, the Liverpool set. The Liverpool set, after Farnell's dead, have been exposed as being these guys who've been taking bribes to give out government contracts. I mean, that's the lowest as it gets. That's bad. And it's like, it happens all the time, but yeah, when you get caught wrong at it, it's like, where are we? You only have one job, really, is not to do that, and you've done it, the most obvious fucking crime of the lot. And when people have looked at you for it, mostly you've just accused them of being jealous and racist. So here we go. It's like if we right. So Do I shed any positive light on Colin Lambert? No, really. I don't know enough about him to have a strong opinion as to whether he's the guy, right? He might be. He's got a lot of know-how. He'd be, as someone who understands the ins and outs of how things function in local government, you couldn't ask for a better teacher than him. He could tell you a story or two, undoubtedly. The guy would be seeing £250,000 a year as chief executive of Rochdale Council. This guy's a heavyweight. It was a big deal once. A massive big deal. How many cocks do you have to suck or asses do you have to lick to get to the very top of the Labour Party? And the top of the Labour Party is to be a chief executive of a town. It's not to be an MP. What the fuck power have they got? This guy's got like dictatorial power. He can move in the fucking shadows and get things done for his mates. You bet your ass he can. Like there's no better position to be than in a tyrannical or corrupt council as its chief executive. You are above the law. You can do whatever you like practically. That's an inordinate amount of power you've got. And if someone of bad character gets into that job, you've got to remember, people who work for the government, people who work for the council, right, could be asked to do all kinds of bad things and cover things up because in a lot of cases their job's for life and they're frightened that they'll lose their pensions if they were ever to mouth off. That's the reality of people who work for the councils. It's like they're the keepers of secrets, and would, if they were to ever spill the beans on things that they've learned over the years, they would lose everything. And just look at how well they get on, these people who used to work for the council, who are retired. Many of them have become either perpetual tourists or they do real well, perpetual tourists or perpetual protesters, political activists. Oh, I've discovered wokeism. And it's completely in line with the indoctrination I was fed when I worked for the council. I now police the internet in the same way as I police the workplace for incorrect thought and speech. It's like the farces of piss-stinking old people unleashed by the fucking councils. The former school teachers of this world are a fucking blight on our politics that act in a way that shields the politicians from any actual scrutiny. So many gatekeepers within this leftist organisation as to where it doesn't really matter who's running it. There's always going to be an army of fucking freaks who'll defend it, thinking they're doing so in their own best interest, of total selfishness. But hey, who writes an article like this not understanding a tenth of what I've been talking about, where this guy has got no history of any kind of links to corruption, no wrongdoing, no peccadillos. He's a respectable person who wasn't ousted from the Labour Party for any kind of malfeasance or frivolous wasting of money, nothing like that. Was never found to have committed any kind of misconduct. He was just, a vote came up against him and no confidence from nowhere that no one was really prepared for, but the people who had arranged the vote of no confidence, they were well and truly prepared for. Quite a fucking deal was done. Quite a deal was done with certain councillors in Rochdale to get this done. Someone's done a deal. We don't know the details of the deal, but we can probably speculate on them, but I'm not going to. You can. This guy out on his ear. The people around him who said, wait, hang on a minute, you're bringing this guy back, this fucking creepy guy, you're bringing this guy back? You've parachuted him in with a by-election and now you're foisting him upon the town as its chief executive. This fat, horrible bully. Who the fuck is he and where has he come from? Why is a man who hasn't been involved in politics for 20 years suddenly arrived just in time to facilitate a massive cover-up. There's many interested parties in a cover-up. There were many interested parties at the time in this new black box administration. And they pulled off a coup and they got what they wanted, and this is where we are. Things have not moved forward an inch in years in this place. The money just keeps getting spent on all the green stuff, all the green projects, money to spend everywhere on the green stuff. The LGBTQP plus hub is open most days, fully staffed with experts. The money has been misappropriated and put into the pet projects of the people who've got the power now. So expect an incredible amount of gay shit from Rochdale Council, and I mean just that bad gay shit. Because there's no oversight and no criticism gets near them. They're impenetrable. They just do whatever they want. So we've got now a chief executive who likes not to rock the boat and likes not for the town to be seen as a bad place and likes to promote it as a centre for gay. So it's like we've got this website and this where they say pieces come from. These guys have been all about the gay pride, gay this, gay event this. They cover every gay event with photographs of fucking 12 people wearing wigs and holding signs. Trans rights are human rights. That's who these are. That's who our council is. This is what they're putting out. All this projection away. But it's like, what mind writes this? Let's read it. I'm hoping in my own way I've filled in the blanks enough about this character as to say, right, this is a man with a story to tell, and this is a lot more complicated than it might seem as to why he now finds himself as the leader of reform in this part of the world. And it'd be a lot more to it than is portrayed by this article, as to where this article will be an example of the lowest form of journalism, as to where it's been put out by what is ostensibly a public service website that's taken a mantle, right? Goes something like this, and have I got my good glasses on already? No, these are my good glasses, right? I'll spot the improvement. Let's go through it. A teacher at Hayward School and former leader of Rochdale Council has been accused of stoking racial tensions and marching alongside far-right activists, sparking outrage amongst parents who say they no longer feel their children are safe in his care. That is a monster of a sentence, isn't it? Now, something that was pointed out to me by my osteopath was that, John, you're a weird person. You you breathe deliberately when you need to. You don't just breathe like normal people do. It's almost as if you have to remember to breathe. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm like. And he's like, you got to stop doing it. It's like, no. It's kind of the way the system is jerry-rigged. As to where, yes, I am able to deliver that sentence. A teacher at Rochdale School and former leader of Rochdale Council has been accused of stoking racial tensions and marching alongside far-right activists, sparking outrage amongst parents who say they no longer feel their children are safe in his care. Not bad, eh? That's called the gift of the gab, or the gift of the feather. There's actually a practical side to it, and that's it. But if you construct a sentence as long as that, it's not designed to be read out. But when you read it out, it's like, wow, fuck me, that's like information overload. What the fuck? There's a lot to it, isn't there? You could spend a long time on that paragraph. That's paragraph single sentence, that header. And here we go into the article. Colin Lambert, now employed at Edgarwood Academy. That'll be a good school, right? To have this guy as a school teacher would probably stand you in good stead for the rest of your fucking life, wouldn't it? It's like, this is a big shot. This is a guy who's been the leader of a leader of a big council and seeing wages of like 250k a year, who went from that to zero. Nothing, gone. This guy's got real tales to tell. Imagine having him as an history teacher, even a maths teacher. Be superb, wouldn't he? He has got a tale to tell. So it's like, I'd send my kids to the school he was teaching at. Why? Because they might learn something from someone who knows and can tell it. Be a brilliant school teacher. Send your kids to this school, it's probably quite good. Colin Lambert, now employed at Edgarwood Academy and a member of the Reform Party, is at the centre of a storm after allegations he played a leading role in a protest held in Haywood on Saturday the 9th of August. Video and photographs captured by Roch Valley Radio photographer and journalist, see no names mentioned, show Mr. Lambert delivering a speech at the launch of the protest before leading the march alongside Reform Councillor Jordan Tarrant Short. He got his arse kicked about 3 weeks ago. That is a street in Haywood. That's the high street in Haywood. There, on that corner where there's like a chippy there, he got battered off a member of... Sorry, chippy joke. Sorry, quick, probably too quick for you. He got battered in a chippy off a member of the general public, and it was reported on as if it was something funny that happens to bad people, and no real effort was made to actually catch the guy who beat him up. It was a matter of, that's what you get, that's what he got. No effort was made by the police to catch the guy who beat him up in the street. But here he is, walking down the street in Haywood. What are they protesting? The incredible amount of new arrivals that arrive every day in this town. The migrant hotel situation, which is the reality we live with. Rochdale's got multiple migrant hotels. And it's like, well, we just take them for granted. It's just part of the way it is here. We also know if you were to start to protest, those kind of operations around here, these kind of powers who write this kind of shit would have the Islamic forces of chaos arriving within minutes to kick your ass. You be the mythical Ku Klux Klan far right. These people want you dead, go down and kill them. That is the response. The state response to it is try to set an Asian mob on them. It's the place we're at. Try to set an Asian mob on them. Like, never come after the Labour Party. No, set an Asian mob on them. Video and photographs captured by Roch Valley Radio photographer and journalist show Mr. Lambert delivering a speech at the launch of the protest before leading the march alongside former council. Yeah, we did that bit. The demonstration, which began in Haywood Memorial Gardens, later reached the office of Haywood and Middleton North MP Elsie Blundell. Elsie Blundell is as a demigod to this website. They're friends with them. I actually know. I know one of the owners of this business. Yeah, one of its investors, and I sent him this story, and he said it was horrendous. And I'll just leave it there. You can sort this out. You've got an interest in this, unless you've got rid of your interest in it and sold it out to somebody else. I need to question one of my contacts about his ownership role of this business. Because a friend of mine used to own it, and it toned down a little from being this, straight up mouthpiece, but it didn't get any better. Has to try and please everyone. This is Rochdale. The demonstrator, yeah, we got that bit done. Look at this. A foster carer wrote to school leaders at Edgar Wood. How do you know this? What is this? A foster carer wrote to school leaders at Edgar Wood Academy, raising deep concern over that what she described as irresponsible, divisive, and apparently racist actions by Mr. Lambert. She said she and her husband no longer consider the school a safe or suitable option for the children in care. If that letter exists, that's a Labour local. Can you join in, and if we all write a letter to the conniving, the same circle, right, that connived for this article to exist, connived these letters to Edgar Wood Academy, in essence demanding that Mr. Lambert be sacked, having committed no crime ever. Look at this. Since then, see, this is journalists protecting their sources, but a journalist who hasn't named themselves as the author. So to my mind, these sources do not exist. Since then, multiple parents of ethnic backgrounds, which in their language means the community, as they call them, the people whose voices we have to listen to, who are at the top of the progressive stack, premier citizens. Since then, multiple parents of ethnic backgrounds have spoken to Roch Valley Radio. It's like, wow, people are coming forward to share their fears. One parent said, "My son is supposed to start at Edgar Wood next year. How can I trust that a teacher involved in something like this will treat him with respect and fairness, as if this was some kind of clan rally?" You start showing these flags, these ancient flags, these people shit themselves and run for their fucking lives, don't they? Go and look into the history of these great banners that these people have adopted as standing. The British standards do reflect certain values, and these are very complex symbols that these guys are reaching for. You're in essence taking the mantle of God's army, wearing the colours of the Templar. So what do you guys stand for? Truth. Justice. Oh no. And what symbol are you carrying? Oh, St. George's Cross. Also about something about hitting fear head on. So here we are with our flag. Yeah, fuck these people. Another parent added, "We work hard to teach our kids about kindness and equality." Yeah. And yet a leading far-right, yet a teacher leading far-right chants sends the opposite message. Do they have any video of him leading a chant? Like, oh, Tommy, or something like blacks out. No, not absolutely. It terrifies me. We are now frantically trying to find another school, but with no luck. Do you think the kid might not have even existed to go to that school in the first instance? Just like giving yourself a get out, isn't it? Fake. Mr. Lambert, this is good. This is where it makes its case against Mr. Lambert. Mr. Lambert, who previously served as leader of Rochdale Council, has long been a divisive figure in local politics. You could write a book on that statement, couldn't you? Easily. I give you a potted version. 39 minutes into a video where I've given you a potted version of the downfall of Mr. Lambert. And again, so strangely, someone who's been found guilty of no crime or misconduct of any kind in his time in office. a straight shooter as far as we can tell. A good person who was sacrificed in order to facilitate a serious cover-up. And there are those of us who know. And we've got this broken, or ever since it happened, we've got this broken gay orifice for a council leadership. A broken gay orifice. You think about what I mean by that. Like fucking Emperor Palpatine's little kingdom. And they're fucking destroying all their roads to reach their net zero targets. In thrall to Andy Burnham's long-term plans to turn this what was once town into what they call an urban residential zone. Or township, as to where it's absorbed into a larger authority of Greater Manchester to become, the regional governors now have direct control over their territories, as to where Rochdale Council find themselves powerless to right themselves because you can't get rid of them ever. And they're a black box government now. Every now and then something like this sleeps out, something childish and anonymously smearing someone who they're afraid that might tell a few tales about them, who's no longer bound by any codes of conduct or rules about what he is and isn't allowed to say. Mr. Lambert, who previously served as leader of Rochdale Council, has long been a divisive figure in local politics. Here we go. Are you ready? Speaking to local councillors, who they do not name, they accuse him of opportunism and say his association with figures such as Parents Against Grooming, that's Billy, right? Billy is... If they think Billy's a danger to them, they've got a real problem. If they are so afraid of Billy, it's not that Billy's a problem, it's that they're fucked up. If they see Billy Howarth as that kind of threat, as to where a gentleman of reputation, right, who's not guilty of any crime, not been found to be corrupt by anyone, gets smeared by association to Billy Howarth, also known as Parents Against Grooming. That just means Billy Howarth. That's just Billy. That's what it means, is Billy. Listen to the whole sentence. I just cut it short. Speaking to local councillors, they accuse him of opportunism and say his association with figures such as Parents Against Grooming raises further alarm about the circles in which he moves. Have they been watching my videos and stealing things that I like to say about that you could judge a person by the company they keep, and applying it to Mr. Lambert, having already decided that Billy is, I don't know, some kind of... Billy's a crusader, but he's got plenty of reason to be. He's had the rough end of the stick he's faced, and he kind of, in some regards, re-traumatises himself every day by trying to hit the world head on. He's not a hero or a patriot or anything, no, but Billy's a crusader. He's never going to give up. It's one of them, they have to accept that Billy's never going to give up. So they have to try to make it seem like Billy is some kind of village idiot, which they've succeeded at. But it's like, Billy's not the smartest guy in the world, so he's even contributed a little bit to it. But he is an honest operator, Billy. He's not a sinister figure. Things don't go to him much further than the lanes he stays in. He stays in his lane. He doesn't come out pretending to be an expert about other things. He doesn't run into things he doesn't understand. He's a crusader. He's on the one mission. And if they see him as being the threat that they appear to see him as, and the possibility that they can use him as some kind of racist poster boy, they don't know anything about the guy and they don't understand him. They've never took a second to listen to what he has to say, because they refuse to see the world he lives in. They refuse to even admit that it exists. Billy spends a lot of his time keeping an eye on the absolute down and outs who put on performances, in live insanity performances in Rochdale Town Centre every day of the week, and bully the people who work in the shops into submission with their constant antics, lies and bullying. And Billy is probably the only person in this town who stands up against it on a consistent basis, because he's been given himself a base of operations in the town and has given himself a reason to be in that community. He's made himself a kind of stakeholder in what's left of the commerce of Rochdale. In some regards, Billy is, if one of them fucking idiots does something stupid, because they do, and decides to jump off the top of the car park, which has happened before, right? The police will go and ask Billy who the guy was, and Billy will know. So in some regards, Billy, he in his way does a job to the best of his ability of, in some regards, in a small way, in a non-violent way, doing his bit to try to regulate the disastrous people who hang around in Rochdale. For no fee. It's just where he's entrenched himself. He's someone who's captivated by this crusade he's on. He's someone who tries to hit reality head on, and he's a victim of it, right? And for these guys to just say, association with figures such as Parents Against Grooming raises further alarm about circles in which he moves. Poor old Billy, they don't like him, do they? They don't like him. It's like they call him an opportunist too. And it'd be a matter of, yeah, but he's got a dog in fight, hasn't he? He's been part of it. He relates to it. His heart goes out to it. He knows how they feel. He's been there. He's been messed with. His family's been messed with. And he, in some regards, it's the defining thing in his life is the way that he's been treated as a child, and that's a tragedy. And he's not the only one. So, yeah, he's a dangerous person, isn't he? And associating with him, well, of course you're racist. He associated also, Billy associated with George Galloway, but no one ever tries to call George racist. They're too frightened of what it'll do to him, sue them. You see, it's a weird one. This smear, it's just disgusting. It's like, this should be actionable. And it probably is if you were someone who was directly involved or named in this. You could sue these people for smearing you like this. And not putting a name to it. Not always a cowardly act. It then becomes a tool or a method as to where this whole Roch Valley Radio organisation puts itself in some very murky water as to whether they should be investigated even. They're not really, it's not in their preview, and never been in their preview before to start investigating people. This be the first time that they've ever followed up on anything, where it's parents are now demanding answers from these people who wrote the letters, who are in league with whoever's wrote this article, Parents now demanding answers from the school and the Altus Education Partnership, which oversees Edgar Wood Academy. Questions being asked include whether Mr. Lambert's political affiliations were known during his recruitment, so he's already guilty, absolutely, of terrible racism, and whether policies are in place to prevent individuals with extremist sympathies from working with young people. What a disgusting smear that is against somebody. And then here we go, a layer of then seeking accountability from the school. Roch Valley Radio contacted Edgar Wood Academy and the Altus Education Partnership to offer a right to reply. However, the trust behind the academy declined to comment. Oh, so that's like, to them that's like, oh, they just don't care then. It's like, have you ever seen anything so irresponsible as this and so clumsy in its way to attempt to smear by association and this pass itself off as local media? This be an example of Rochdale journalism. This be an example of how the sort of these farces of control in Rochdale, this is how they operate. This is their modus operandi. These are the same group of people who will tell everyone you're gay. They will. You'll run for office and they'll tell everyone you're gay, but then they'll back the gay candidate. You know, oh yeah, absolutely. But then they'll use homophobia against you because you're straight. He's gay. Don't vote for him. He's gay. He's secretly gay. Yeah, he's dangerous. Funny around kids. They'll say that about their opposition. And then when the gay guy, oh, I'm super big fat guy, I'm gay and I'm running the bike. Worship the gay. That's how they operate. They'll tell the Muslim voters, don't vote for him, he's a racist. Don't vote for him, he's an Islamophobe. And then they'll talk to the pensioners who are crackpots and say, he's a climate change denier. Don't vote for him. That's it. So we're to believe that Colin Lambert is a racist because he turned up with the people, and it'd be a matter of Reform UK. Okay. Seems that Reform UK to these people is not a legitimate anything. I mean, they would treat local conservatives like flat out criminals and question every word they ever said. But they take it a step beyond with Reform and its people and really put it these people should not be allowed to speak and these people should not be allowed to have a job. Welcome to politics Rochdale style. The black box cabinet that every now and then puts out something like this. There's a part of me that, because they haven't put a letter, I can speculate. Was this penned by the chief executive of Rochdale Council? I beg the question. No one signed it off. Was this written by Neil Emmett of Rochdale Council? I could believe it that it is. I could believe that it is. Or certainly penned by Elsie Blundell or her husband. The MP, former councillor, now MP, and her lying councillor husband. Maybe one of them or two wrote this. And put it out and call it news. Hey, welcome to Rochdale. This is what we're up against. There's no enemy in the open to hit. There is no one to negotiate with. No one at all. Nobody. There is no bridge to the council that anyone can access. Since the coup and this guy was removed, it's been a black box. you out there who've got some pull and a big website, I don't know if anyone's actually tracked this guy down to seriously say, we'd like to interview you, sir. Think a story that you might be able to tell us that might be very interesting. Be the better version of the one I've just told you. It's like that Andrew Gold guy. It's like, go and track this guy down. Go and talk to Colin Lambert, former Chief Executive of Rochdale Council. Go and ask him what he's got to say. He was once upon a time, like I say, a leading light of the Labour Party, right at the very top of it, and then suddenly he was sacrificed. Go and ask him why.